It made me cry.
This One's Wife. The Brother Exposure. Bombshell or Nothing Burger. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Rebecca Russell, writing for the Daily Express, tells us, as other news outlets have similarly reported, that This One's Wife is set for a new bombshell as her half-brother reveals he's writing a tell-all book. The Duchess of Sussex has had a challenging few years since she and Prince Harry left the royal family, and it's not expected to get any easier. This One's Wife is set to face a new challenge, as her half-brother, Thomas Markle Junior, has confirmed that he is writing a tell-all book about the Duchess and her childhood. Speaking from the Philippines, where he is relocated with his father, Thomas Markle Sr., he vowed that the book is gonna be good. In an interview with the Mirror newspaper, Thomas said, "When my book is finished, it'll be swooped up real quick because it's getting there. I'm working on it. It's coming out. It's gonna be good." In what will surely come as a further worry to the Duchess, her estranged half-brother added, "I really want to spin off the book. Then, when the book gets read, the documentary will follow." Thomas went on, "I'm not a greedy person. It's not about the money. It's about the principle." Pausing there, in my experience, whenever anybody says that, it's entirely about the money. However, he went on to add, it would be nice to have a nice little cushion from selling a book. Markle Junior has been hugely critical of his half-sister in the past and has claimed that she has told malarkey stories about her childhood on her lifestyle Netflix series With Love, Meghan. On his view of the series, he told journalist Kevin O'Sullivan back in March, "This is probably the first time I felt sorry and embarrassed for her." He was then asked whether his father had watched his daughter's show, to which Markle Junior replied, "I didn't have enough heart medication for him to watch it. I didn't want him to kick the bucket, so I'd have to go refill the prescription before I let him watch." Well, Thomas Markle Jr. in a video let us know that he's writing a book about this one's wife, and that apparently it's going to be good. But will it have any bombshells in it, or will it be a nothing burger? You would have thought that, given this family's propensity to grifting, that he would have released a book far earlier in order to cash in, and that, given his scathing observations about his half-sister, which are with foundation, that he would have attended to this much earlier. One also wonders what possibly might he have to talk about, given the fact that he has issued various disclosures about her. Furthermore, there is a significant flaw with what he proposes to do. As you know, I'm no defender of This One's Wife, casting my critical eye over her behaviours, but Thomas Markle is 58 years old. This One's Wife is 43 years old. There's 15 years between them, which means that when she was still a toddler, he became an adult. Now, he will be privy to some of the things that occurred in her childhood as a consequence of, more than likely, what his father told him rather than he necessarily had witnessed. I don't know, for instance, how long he lived in the same home as This One's Wife, but it's evident that the relationship between him and This One's Wife has never been a close one. He interestingly remarked about how she shouldn't be left alone around children and animals. One wonders if he might expand upon that observation in his forthcoming book. Undoubtedly, there will be plenty of instances of This One's Wife's narcissistic behaviour occurring in her childhood. It would also have been evident in her teen years. And it may well be the case that many of the porcupines that she's told about her childhood he'll be able to debunk. And therefore, if written sensibly and accurately, it will provide a Bible, if you will, to demonstrate the various untruths that this one's wife has issued by way of revisions of history. Furthermore, it might also provide some instances of what she actually did rather than what she said that she did. It'd be interesting also if he were to visit the various allegations that have been founded against this one's wife. For instance, the suggestion that she was involved in a hazing incident, gluing somebody's eyes shut, whether he has knowledge about that and what he has to say about it. Information about the allegations that she's a yacht girl, that she was married to somebody before Trevor Engelson, that she's had a child previously. Is he going to address all of those things? Or is this simply a case that a man who is evidently driven by money and has a famous half-sister is seeing an opportunity to cash in on that, and that ultimately, because he didn't have much to do with her growing up, there's very little he can actually say about what went on? It naturally remains to be seen. But what would be the view of this one's wife to this news coming across her desk, that she learns that her half-brother is going to write something about her? Well, she won't be worried about it. This isn't because she'll think there's nothing that he can say about me, but rather because her half-brother is painted black. He's disengaged from. He's a non-intimate secondary source in her fuel matrix, and her narcissism has caused her to disengage from him because he was simply seen as too much of a problem and therefore no longer needed. Secondary sources are invariably subjected to the shelf dynamic. The narcissist picks them up, takes them off the shelf, deals with them to the extent that they can serve the purposes of the narcissist, and then pops them back on. Back and forth you go from the shelf. But with Thomas Markle, his behaviours and also lack of use to her has meant that she's disengaged from him. He's also been painted black, which means that she will simply look at this and decide it's all lies. Her narcissism will not allow her to countenance any suggestion that credible evidence will be advanced that will cause a problem for her, but rather that this is her awful half-brother seeking to cash in on her good name, that he's looking to make money out of her, and that he is a despicable person. He'll be categorised in the same way that she did with her father in relation to the paparazzi shots, and therefore she will stay in a position of withdrawal. She will not be sat there thinking, oh my gosh, what if he mentions this, or what if he mentions that? Her narcissism doesn't cause her to reflect on matters in that way. If he does have actual evidence of things that she's done in the past which could prove harmful to her, this one's wife won't be sweating it, because her narcissism won't cause her to be thinking about the various skeletons in her cupboard, but rather it will simply focus on this all-pervasive view of Thomas Markle Junior. He is a liar. He is not to be relied upon. He's just trying to make money out of my name by telling lies. That is what her narcissism will focus on, and that will cause her to dismiss this news, stay within a position of withdrawal, and subconsciously achieve the control that she requires. She's not going to be worried at this stage about what he might write. It's not a consideration. And if damaging disclosures arise should he write and publish a book, then her narcissism will cause her to deal with that as and when that arrives. But for now, if she's aware of his intentions, and she might not be, all that will simply happen is that her narcissism will reject it. But what about this forthcoming book, valuable viewers? Do you think Thomas Markle Jr. is going to drop some bombshells, or do you think it will amount to a nothing burger? And what are your thoughts in that regard? Why would you choose the particular option that you've done? Let me know in the comments section. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.